Hi, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining. I wanted to, I guess, start also with a more maybe personal question than directed to you because you've now been connected with ENIL and the whole independent living movement for quite a long time. So maybe you could both introduce yourself and also just sort of tell maybe your story with connection with ENIL and with this whole movement throughout Europe and how it's kind of grown.
My name is Jamie Bolling. I was the director of the European Network Independent Living from 2009 to 2017. And then I sort of quit because the traveling was a lot for me. I was getting older. But I went home and became the director of the Independent Living Institute after Olaf Ratzka, which was quite a challenge and an honor. And as he just passed away, I'll become the president of the Independent Living Institute as well. I first started thanks to Olaf. When I fell off the horse, I needed personal assistance, and I found out about the independent living movement and called him. And he became a mentor, told me how things worked, helped me with my identity crisis with my own disability. And then I, speaking both English and French and Swedish, I was able to start doing international representation and going out and meeting people. So I remember what I think the first trip was maybe to London, and then there was a European network meeting in somewhere in Ireland. I can't think of the name of the city, not in Dublin, but out where the EAR prison is. Can't remember the name of this city. And then it's just one thing led to the another. I mean, I am a social anthropologist with the masters, and I love different cultures and wondering why do cultures how do you say develop as they do? Why do we have different legislation? What makes our legislation? Why? How? Yeah, just the differences of culture I find very exciting. And then has lots of different cultures of people coming, so it's great being able to meet so many people. It was Martin Naughton who started the Freedom Drive, and I worked with Martin Naughton as a co-director from 2009 into 2015, I think it was. And he taught me a lot as well. So we worked together trying to make the Freedom Drive grow, getting the youth network to expand, trying to get more political interaction and getting our voice heard as much as possible. Short but sweet.
Yeah, absolutely. But I think you've been such a huge part of this movement and how it's grown throughout the years. And yeah, I don't know, in setting up this entire Freedom Drive, and it's been fantastic. So,
But I have Adolf and John Evans, both of them were two mentors for me. Kapka Panayatova was a fantastic person. It's very hard watching the how do you say the video yesterday, seeing all these people. I was like, I'm just gonna break down because all my friends are gone. But you make fantastic friends in the movement. It's been a fantastic moment, and yeah, from Bulgaria to Iceland,
yeah, absolutely.
Sweden to Spain.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing that torch and also for being this really, I know, a powerful leader in this movement, really.
Thank you.
And yeah, it's interesting, just as a tiny little side note, that you come at it from this cultural, anthropological side. I think the independent living almost is a culture shift, or it's like a mindset shift in itself. Yeah, it's an interesting perspective to bring through everything. So the next question I had is more of a personal question for you. And it's, what does independent living mean for you?
Independent living means almost, I mean, without independent living, I would be lying in a bed, or probably I would be, if I had had my accident in the United States as an American without insurance, I would probably be in old folks' home. If I had continued living in Switzerland I had insurance, but I would definitely have not got down and around in the world. Having fallen luckily off the horse in Sweden, getting access to personal assistance, I was able to get my bachelor's degree, my master's degree, started a doctorate. I was able to get the jobs that I have and travel, and that's thanks to independent living and the adoption of personal assistance. So it means the world to me. I usually tell people, I mean, I eat, sleep, work, independent living. It's not a job from 9 to 5. It's my life. So I work hard. All the time.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Um, and this one will also adjust a little bit to your situation because now you've seen both disability, I guess, and the independent living situation, both working for ENIL, I think, and throughout your life just traveling so much. You've seen the situation in a lot of different countries. So I'd be interested both, maybe you can speak especially to Sweden now, how the situation is in terms of independent living, but also maybe your experience with what is the sort of independent living and disability situation like in the US and in all these different places that you live.
Yeah. No, I mean Sweden has been, how do you say, the forefront so many years with the social legislation, with the sense of solidarity and the protection of the rights of people with disabilities, having personal assistance become one of the first civil rights legislations for us with people with disabilities. So it's been great, but it's not perfect. And even in the 90s, when they adopted the legislation, we were in an economical crisis, but they adopted it anyway, showing it wasn't a question of funding, it was a question of priority. You need to have the political will of the politicians, which was there, and it's growing. But now there's lots of cuts, so it's getting more and more difficult, and people are afraid to go back to institutions, those who have lived them before, or myself. I think, gosh, will I still have this service? Okay, I'm 69, I'll be 70 next year. I'm not sure how long I'm going to stay as vibrant and active as I am. But that day that I'm not, where will I end up being? Will I be still able to get out and about and go lay on the beaches in Spain as the other Swedes do, or what will I be able to do? When it comes to the States, I mean, I have, of course, visited the States. I think the States had ADA, which was a great legislation. It also got weaker along with cases, just like personal assistance has gotten weaker in Sweden due to the legal cases that come up that give you a more narrow interpretation of the legislation. But if you lived in Washington, D.C., it was fantastic accessibility, but I come from Ohio, where it wasn't so accessible when I was there. So it really depends on the states and how people are made aware that they can complain and sue everybody if they want to get their accessibility. So it really depends, I think. When it comes to Europe, I mean, we heard today the mama cultures, that nobody can give me as good service as my mother, so a lot of the people are still living at home with their parents rather than getting personal assistance. Again, a cultural difference on how we see democracy and activity and participation. The how do you say, the split between the responsibility of the family and the national government. Bulgaria, when we went to Sofia, the streets were terrible. They were almost not navigable, but we still did lots of work there as well, trying to get personal assistance. So, and I heard Barcelona is fantastic. I was going to discover it last summer, but the plane was 36 hours late, so I lost my time in Barcelona. So I have to go back. I don't know. Valencia, we had great accessibility. But when it comes to personal assistance legislations, I know a lot of these countries are having difficulty because maybe they have a limited hour, maybe only get 35 hours a week. What can you do with that? Or, yeah, exactly. So, I mean, we still have so much to do to get, I say, an EU directive for personal assistance and hours that are enough and payment for the people that are personal assistants so that it becomes a real and a respected profession.
Absolutely. I think you touch on so much that like each country is really unique and each situation is unique and each one comes from a different situation when it comes to independent living or disability rights. And I think all of that also speaks to how important these forums like the Freedom Drive and like ENIL is in general for sort of creating somewhat of a unified voice, or at least connecting all of these disparate sort of situations and trying to fight on a more global level for independent living for everyone. So, and then the last question that I had was sort of going from that, first, what were your sort of expectations maybe for this Freedom Drive? And also now, how has your experience been? What did you think?
Well, my expectations are always high because I know there'll be lots of people coming, and I wasn't disappointed but more enthused because we were, I think, more people than normal at this Freedom Drive, over 300, between 300 and 400 people. It was fantastic to see so many new young faces because that's, like I say, I'm 69, I'm on my way out. We need the young people to carry the movement forward. And there was a lot of hope because they're there. So now it's giving them the space so they can take over the movement. I was happy we finally got Finland to come, and it was great talking to a guy from Switzerland where I lived once upon a time, who I'm sure is going to become a member. So I think this shows that we're still growing, and there's a vibration and inspiration. A lot of, yeah, I'm excited. I'm motivated. I'm inspired. I think that we'll see a lot. I know that we still have, how do you say, not challenges, but we have opportunities of how can we work more, how do you say, between country to country, around the regions, or from within areas. I work at home on migrants with disabilities. How can we spread the knowledge that we've gained in the last 7 years with our projects? Can we go together with other countries and do an EU project on that or other areas? Because there's many things I think we could work together and join forces and have a strong voice. So I see that as a challenge and fun.
Yeah, but these can be the first steps, I guess. Those conversations that you have here at Freedom Grad can lead to these bigger networks and collaborations, and yeah, who knows. Okay, great.
So you've talked about young people. What advice would you give to like the next generation of advocates for the planetary?
I mean, I think everybody has to. We all have a responsibility of being active in our local society and our municipalities, trying to spread the world of independent living. I know at one time the UK had a centre of independent living in every city. That should be our goal, or at least a national centre of independent living, which is not the case everywhere. So it's together, all of us. As I said, we met some of our politicians here today, or not today, but the last few days here at the Freedom Drive. It's going home, continuing that contact with them, but also meeting those we didn't get a chance to meet. It's going home and spreading news, and we have to fight for our rights. But I mean, Adolf said very simple things. It's believing in yourself, having self-respect, because if you want other people to see you as somebody, if you don't respect yourself, they're not going to do it either. So it's growing somehow, and that we need through peer support to empower one another. It's unfortunately the language of ENIL is English, so I know that some countries complain because we don't do everything in Spanish or in French or in German or Estonian or all these different languages. But I say I talk to small kids who are 5, 6 years old in Sweden, and they speak English already because they're watching TV. So I tell people, make sure you listen to English, try to learn it, because we can learn it. And so that we can have a stronger voice together to be able to be heard when they come. But it's also for us who've been here a long time to give them the space to get onto the board, which I think we've done. We have young people that are on our board, and to help to moderate and to take responsibilities. It's being active together. So each and every one of us has a responsibility when we go home.
So they carry that torch, carry that as you share.
Really.
Great. Well, thank you, Jamie. Yeah, for all you've done in Sweden and also for ENIL and just for the whole movement in general. So
thanks to you guys. Now she takes a picture of us.